Just want to caution everybody that there will be some forward-looking statements made in this presentation, so please direct your attention to this slide prior to me starting. Atico Mining is a junior copper gold producer. The company has been operating the Roble mine for over 7 years now. We're generating a healthy cash flow for our shareholders, and the strategy is to continue growing the company organically, but also looking at other potential organic opportunities at the mine, but also through M&A. The company was founded by the same group that found Fortuna Silver Mines, and we would like to replicate the Fortuna Silver success, but this time in the copper and gold space. We think we've taken a great first step towards this goal with our flagship asset, the Roble mine. As I mentioned, the mine has been in production for a number of years, and it lends itself to other organic growth opportunities on the large 6,300 hectare package that we control. Again, this is a VMS. VMSs tend to come in clusters. So the fact that we have already discovered one VMS on this property is perspective, but we have 6,300 hectares to find more. On top of all of this, recently in September of 2019, we acquired our second asset called the Plata project. It was formerly known as, it was under the company ATY.V Mining. And now the plan is to replicate what we've done in El Roble in La Plata now, with the goal to have 2 producing assets in Latin America in the next 3 years. Just a quick overview of our capital structure. We have about 190 million shares outstanding. The last time we went to the market to raise money was 2013. All of the success that you see was self-financed and was done with our own cash flows. We have about 9.4 million options and 2.5 million warrants that were absorbed. The warrants were absorbed by with the ATY.V transaction in September. We have a very strong financial position, 6.8 million working capital and about $7 million in cash, and $11 million in credit facilities at local banks available to us at our discretion. As I mentioned, we have 2 projects. One is operating, one is pre-development stage, and the plan is to have 2 producing assets in the next 3 years. On this slide, you'll see what we've been able to do at our mine in Colombia. We've grown copper production in the bottom right-hand side over 14.5 times, and gold production over 5.5 times. Again, we've done all of this with our own cash, and we've managed to replace most of the reserves that we've mined during that time. So the life of mine still continues to be 6 years as it was when we took over this operation. This is some of the financial results on the back of the success that we've had in this past 3 quarters. Of course, we don't have fourth quarter out here yet because the financials will be announced in April. But what you see is a very healthy cash flow, a very competitive all-in sustaining cash cost, and we think that we can continue improving on this, especially now with the gold price where it is today. This is our underground mine workings right now. We think we can find more resources down here at depth. Predominance of our infill program and our exploration program will be focused down here on increasing resources and increasing the mine life. Of course, for us to continue growing the El Roble mine, we would need to make a much larger discovery. We think the depth of this deposit is still open, so it could be coming from down here, but the real prize, the blue sky potential that we see, is on the larger land package that's on the next slide here that I will show you, where we have over 6,300 hectares and the El Roble mine more or less at the center of this land package. We have over 20 drill targets that we're following up on, and we've been drilling for the past 2 years, where we think we can find more ore to continue growing the El Roble mine. Now, we know that not all 21 targets are going to be explained by a VMS, but all we need is 1 or 2 to be a game changer for the company. Diving into our second asset, the asset we acquired in September, the La Plata project is also a VMS, except it's in Ecuador. It's pre-development stage. It has a PEA on the property. We think this will be a mine in the next 3 years. Together with our El Roble mine will give us a very good platform to continue growing the company through accretive M&A moving forward. A little bit on Ecuador. Ecuador is an improving jurisdiction. As you all may have seen, Lundin just last week announced their first gold pour. So they've taken this property from start of permitting all the way into production. Mirador is a Chinese-owned copper producer. So now that's 2 modern operations that have gone into production in the last 2 years in Ecuador. We're hoping to be one of the next. And so far, all the information we have, we feel that we can execute on this strategy. Diving deeper on La Plata, very similar setting to El Roble. It's a high-grade VMS, except this VMS is rich in gold, more in gold than in copper, but high-grade nevertheless for both metals. The plan is going to be to take it through the permitting process and then start producing in this asset. We think that this deposit, it continues to be open at depth and along strike, which will be evident in the next slide. As you can see, the previous operators intercepted massive sulfide at depth and along strike. Of course, that has not yet been included in their feasibility study. So we think, in the pre-feasibility study, so we think that that's low-hanging fruit for us that we're going to take advantage of in the coming quarters that we're going to be exploring this property. Between the 2 assets, the strategy for this year is to drill 25,000 meters of exploration and infill drilling with the purpose of making a discovery at El Roble, infill drilling to take La Plata through the feasibility stage, and also to do some exploration drilling at this property. Very similar to El Roble, the VMS at La Plata is contained at the center of a very large land package. We think there is blue sky potential here to discover more VMSs and continue growing this. So gentlemen, what you have here is a company that's generating cash, self-financing, with very good upside potential to continue growing at both El Roble and La Plata. With that, I'd like to open it up for any questions, if I may. Have about a minute left. So Ecuador has been a challenging jurisdiction in the past, that's for sure. But I think that there's been a major shift in the political landscape there over the past 2 years. The new government is very much pro-mining, and they are starting to account for mining being their future pipeline for revenue growth towards their GDP. Because as you probably know, their oil production and exports have come down significantly, and mining is one of the industries that can actually replace some of that shortfall. With that, thank you very much.